How is it going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm sharing the story of how I turned my passion for graphic design into a full-time career and how that path eventually led me to working at Man City. It wasn't all smooth sailing throughout my career, but every twist and turn ended up getting me here, so it did work out in the end. But my journey truly started in high school when I really knew one thing. I didn't want to spend 60 plus years now stuck in a job that I hated, and I wanted to make sure that I've picked something that I'm actually going to enjoy as a career and obviously make money off of it as well. But that's when I discovered graphic design as a GCSE choice many years ago now. It was quite new at the time. It was kind of coming into play a little bit more across different schools, and obviously as like a proper course, and it involved art and computers, which I love both, so I was just instantly hooked, and that's where it all started really. And yeah, since then I've had some really amazing highs, plenty of lows, and even what I thought was going to be my dream job didn't exactly go to plan, but every step in my journey taught me something valuable, and looking back, if any of those things had gone differently, I might never have ended up working at Man City. So I'm actually really grateful for the ups and all of the downs as well. In this video, I'll walk you through the jobs that I've had since finishing uni, share some of the designs that I created along the way at each of the jobs, and kind of give you a look at how my career took shape over time. Hopefully it'll inspire anyone thinking about getting into design, and also just give you kind of a reality of building a creative career and how long it kind of takes. Obviously, I'm not saying this is going to be the case for everyone, but this is what happened to me. If you enjoyed the video, obviously please drop a like, as it really helps out the channel to grow. And if you want to see more of my design content, subscribe so you don't miss what's coming up next. But now let's jump back to the very beginning of my design journey. So moving on to the first stop of my design journey, we're going to 2018, which is the year that I graduated from the University of Salford in Manchester. But before 2018, so probably from around 2017 onwards, I was kind of just continuously creating my own designs on the side. I didn't necessarily have that many freelance clients, so I was just basically creating my own passion projects, just really practicing and getting to grips with lighting techniques, different kind of layouts, and utilizing many different techniques in Photoshop. But yeah, this was just a real time of experimentation. Obviously, university taught me quite a bit on the academic side and kind of just getting into a routine. But personally, I think I've learned a lot more in terms of design by just experimenting myself and just watching YouTube videos, to be honest with you. Like, YouTube in 2018 was the place to go. That I was learning all of my things here basically, and yeah, then just putting them into practice whilst being at university and using them for university projects, just like this one, which I created a fake basically Umbro campaign. Umbro did actually come in, as the HQ was in Manchester at the time. I'm not 100% sure if they've moved it, but Umbro came in and they've set us basically just like a fancy brief. And yeah, this was basically my project at the time. It was involved a couple of clothing designs and basically just mocking up some landing pages, and app design and things like that. So that was quite a nice project to get involved in, and again, it was great experience for me to kind of make things that I necessarily might not have done before in terms of like apparel design and things like that. But yeah, during 2017, 2018, I was really just creating my own pieces and just getting to grips with design and how to potentially get freelance clients out there. I've done some basically trial thumbnails like this Fortnite one up here, but I did actually have some clients at the time that I was making thumbnails for FIFA 18, which is so many years ago now. But yeah, this was kind of my unofficial start of my freelance journey. Obviously graduating from uni 2018, which I think it was in June, and then from that point on I went on holiday for a couple of months, and I then did an internship at the university, which basically just allowed me to earn a little bit of money whilst I was looking for a job. It wasn't necessarily anything groundbreaking. I was just doing, how to put it, glorified PowerPoint designs, essentially, transforming like lecturer notes into a nice presentation, essentially, for them to use on online e-learning content. And yeah, obviously that was just kind of not necessarily getting experience in terms of creating work for like the industry standard. But yeah, it just allowed me to get a little bit of money, and obviously allowed me to kind of spend some time on experimenting with my own designs at the time. And this is just kind of a bit of a cluster of the work that I did. A lot of this is on my Behance, so obviously if you want to have a proper look through on these, yeah, just head over there. It's not as much of a self plug, but obviously I try to include a broad range of work that I've done at this time, and hopefully this kind of covers it all. There's not a lot of stuff from university, obviously, apart from this Manquay one. Basically all of this is just my own freelance and just passion projects essentially that I did at the time. But yeah, from 2018 into 2019, I was lucky enough to get a job at Reach Sport. So this was like a real kind of breakthrough moment for me. I didn't initially get the job. I was contacted about a week after I had my interview saying that the initial person that they went for actually backed out and stayed in the position that they were in, and I was offered the job basically. So yeah, second choice, but it did work out. I was quite lucky, and this is where I really kind of got into basically working in sports. It wasn't necessarily creating designs for social media, but I was working primarily in print. I was working primarily on stuff for Spurs, and this cover up here, as you can see, it was a special A4 edition with like golden foil on some of the text and like a nice matte finish for the first game at the new stadium, which was opening up. And yeah, just again, a sample of work. Obviously these are taken, I've still got quite a few of these at home, so as you can see, this is the special edition of the matchday program. But yeah, so my position at Reach Sport was basically just as a junior designer, working primarily in print. So this is the time where I've really kind of got to grips with InDesign, as I've not really used it before. At university, I've used it a little bit for like layout designs and things like that, but I didn't really, I didn't really scratch the surface, to be honest with you. And this is where I've just gained so much experience. I was sat next to quite a couple of senior designers on either side, so it was great just to kind of get their input basically daily on what I was doing and if what I was doing was right. So that was really fun. And yeah, you know, there's a broad range of projects. Obviously, primarily I was working on Spurs things, but I did work on a picture book for Formidables for Man City at the time. And then I was also working on quite a few just like monthly magazines, some for United, some for Liverpool. As you can see, there you go, with the Formidables Uncut book, which is what the layout I was doing here, which was like, I think 200, 300 pages maybe. So that was quite a tough one. I did some work for Junior Blues, and you know, one thing that I worked on, which was very, very brief at the time, as I joined this position like towards the end of the season. So the 2018-2019 season, it was finishing up. So I was only kind of involved with some of the Stoke City stuff towards the back end of the season, and then going into the 2019-2020 season, Stoke didn't actually continue to produce the program. So I was kind of obviously on Spurs a lot of the time. But yeah, this was a great position just to kind of get into the industry, really. I was very lucky to get this, as I feel like this was a great step upwards in my career. I gained a lot of experience in terms of, obviously, like I mentioned, layout design, InDesign, kind of working in the actual industry and working in sports, which is, you know, a great combination, really. And I loved it here. I spent about a year and a half here, but then obviously COVID hit in 2020 and there was a lot of redundancies. So it was a bit tough, and I did end up taking a voluntary redundancy and moving to a different position. But during this time, before COVID happened, I did actually apply for a job at Liverpool as a designer, part of the retail team. And again, I went through a couple of the interviews, but unfortunately I wasn't successful in getting the position, and there was no call back after a week like I got with Reach Sport. So that was unfortunate, but you know, it is what it is. And yeah, in 2020, I took the voluntary redundancy after creating all this work, which after the year and a half, I did kind of stagnate a little bit, as I was creating essentially the same stuff then over and over again, working with a lot of templates. And, you know, I've really got to grips with what we were doing. There wasn't anything new that was coming in every week or every month, etc. But yeah, it was a great experience working, you know, tight deadlines, working with quite a few different brand guidelines for different clubs. So yeah, it was a great kind of real first step into the career. But then in 2020, obviously, with the redundancies, I moved into a job that I spotted, which was a UI and UX one, which I thought was quite cool to get into, as this was something completely different. It was a position that was offering training to do this, and UI and UX design is massive, and I thought this was kind of expand my skill set and hopefully open up more opportunities for me in the industry further down the line. So if we follow this path going all the way down here, I joined a company called RW Invest in 2020. And my primary role at this company was to handle the design of Google ads, which basically were just adverts that you have when you do a Google search. These ones in yellow aren't actual designs that I've done, as I couldn't find any, but this is basically very similar to what we were doing. It was just landing pages, kind of promoting upcoming developments that the company was working on. And, a couple of social media posts, which aren't, the most exciting, but we had, again, a very strict set of brand guidelines that we kind of had to stick to. But the experience in this position was really kind of centered around creating, converting landing pages. We used software called Unbounce to put the pages together, which was kind of like a web browser-based Photoshop that you built these pages on. The pages themselves were only like 3 or 4 pages deep. They were very light, and it was just kind of giving basic information for the upcoming developments with some CGI shots. Then we had some like tours that we could embed in the pages, which was quite cool. But yeah, this job really kind of taught me on how to make things work and how to convert potential buyers, and then obviously these leads were then captured and presented to the sales team, who then converted and hopefully got the sale. But yeah, this is a very corporate job. It wasn't sports related, obviously, but this was something new, and I did a course during my time here on UI and UX design, which was great, and obviously just kind of helped me to understand the principles of user experience and user interface, which is great, as I use that a lot now, even for different principles, maybe not necessarily creating UI or web pages, etc., but it kind of just helps you to understand the hierarchy of things, color theory, all the psychology behind that, and basically just what works and what doesn't work. And then after this position in 2020, again, I think I spent about 1.5 years here. I actually went for another interview at Liverpool. This was for the social media team, for the social designer position, and I was actually successful this time, so that was great. And I thought this would be my dream position, which unfortunately it didn't end up being that, as the job wasn't exactly what it was kind of presented to me as. I spent 6 months here, and I finished at the end of the season in 2020. So I started in January and I finished, I think, at the end of May. But it was a great experience either way. Everyone was great, very welcoming. I worked on some pretty cool projects and some not so cool projects, which, it does happen, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm grateful either way. As you can see, again, just a small cluster of work that I've worked on during my time here. A lot of the designs were just like reactive posts or milestone designs. There was some more kind of formulated campaigny stuff that I also worked on. A lot of adverts that I've worked on, a lot of PowerPoints that I've also worked on, which weren't as fun. But overall, it was, again, just, a great experience working at a Premier League club, which was insane. Obviously, unfortunately, it didn't work out, but it is what it is. I still really enjoyed my time here in certain spells, and working on these kind of milestone and social media designs was just amazing. So I kind of tried to make the most whilst working on these. It was really fun. It was quite lenient in terms of what we can design. Obviously, I went a little bit crazy with the style I had going on at the time, and I tried to implement that into quite a few designs that we had going on here, but then some of them were obviously a little bit more clean. But yeah, it was fun. It was a great opportunity. I know saying that, working for a Premier League club, it's amazing, and I should be grateful, which I am, but unfortunately the position wasn't what I envisioned it to be, and it wasn't what was described to me at the time when I was applying for this, which is why I ended up making the move to a different company. And it didn't work out. It's fine. It happened. I got the experience. I had the opportunity to create a lot of these great creatives, milestone graphics. I made a lot of those, which is great, and obviously have that in my portfolio and just to kind of expand on that skill set as well, which I was constantly learning when I was making one, going to the next one. I was getting feedback from my team, which was great. So, it is what it is. I still got quite a good amount of positive experience out of this position. It didn't work out, even though I did think it would be my dream position at the time, but it's, like I keep saying, it is what it is. But yeah, it was fine overall. I enjoyed working on these pieces, but this is obviously a small sample of pieces that I've worked on, and a lot of the other ones I wasn't a massive fan of. But yeah, so halfway through 2022, I then moved to a company, if we just follow this, called Snap, which was just an overall design agency with a lot of website development work. So then I was using my skill set that I've gained at RW Invest in a lot of these wireframes that I was putting together on Illustrator, which were then passed on to the development team, who they then built it out. So it worked in that way. And yeah, it was great just to kind of, again, work in a company that was very modern, very clean, which I really liked the approach of. And yeah, I just thought I fit in really nicely. And again, it's just a small sample here, as you can see, of like websites, brand guidelines that I worked on, just mock-ups in general. You've got some PDF brochures, social media design. So yeah, here I worked on like everything essentially. I did a little bit of motion design, but I didn't get that deep into it, as I think After Effects and working on motion is just like another world. And you really have to keep on top of that, as I hardly remember a lot of the stuff that I did there. And I do actually want to pick up motion design again, so that's something I'm going to be focusing on. But yeah, again, working to very tight deadlines, handling multiple clients at the same time, just being in an agency environment really. It was fun, it was a bit intense at times. Dealing with a few different clients was a bit tricky, but it's experience, and people do it. So you just have to get on, crack on with it. And yeah, I was really grateful to have this opportunity as a kind of not a way out from the position at Liverpool, but just a lucky break in a way. And yeah, again, it was just more experience under my belt, more skills. Again, kind of building on the stuff that I've mentioned previously at RW Invest with the website development, etc. Yeah, the team here was great. And again, similar to Liverpool, I didn't spend that much time here, as I was offered a position at a company in the same place, same town as Snap. And I was actually working with one of my closest friends. So I ended up going to, if we go all the way here, to City and Guilds. So when I joined in 2023, this wasn't called City and Guilds Training. It was called Trade Skills for You at the time, which was an electrical training company. The company was bought by City and Guilds and then kind of morphed into City and Guilds Training. So in here, I was kind of the lead designer in terms of City and Guilds Training, which then I got absorbed into the central City and Guilds design team. So I was part of a team of, I think, 6 or 7, I want to say. And yeah, this was fun, working on a lot of social media content, but then this ranged from, exhibition designs, PDFs, kind of printed leaflets, just adverts, and just everything really that the company needs, which was similar to Snap. So I did use that experience from the agency when I was creating stuff here, but this was a lot more heavy on the brand guidelines, so you couldn't really do that much creatively. Obviously you could kind of experiment every couple of months just to kind of refresh these things, but we started with this kind of design initially overall, and then we moved into the new ones after they were created by the design manager. So yeah, this was a fun position. Again, I spent about 1.5 years here, just got real good experience really working in a very fast-paced company, in a very large company as well. City and Guilds is quite a renowned company in the UK, so it was again just great to have that in my portfolio and on my CV really. And yeah, it was fun. Certain bits of the job that I didn't enjoy, obviously you get that at every single position I think, but overall the experience I gained here was really good. It kind of helped me to again just further refine my skills in like social media, handling clients, handling internal kind of communications, and speaking to loads of different departments to kind of figure out what they need. And yeah, it was a fun position. I enjoyed it, but then I thought I did kind of want to get back into sports design. And during this time and over the past like couple of years, from like 2023 backwards, I was continuously creating freelance work on the side, just to kind of have that more creative outlet in a way, rather than kind of being restrained by these brand guidelines a lot, and obviously just working in sports. So I was handling a couple of freelance clients on the side, which was great, again, just to kind of not be rusty with sports. And as I was kind of just browsing the market, really, I made a few connections with people in the sports industry on like LinkedIn, and then the position at Man City popped up, and lucky enough, I did manage to get that and secure it. Obviously now heading into my second year at the company, it's been great. You know, I've really enjoyed my time here. This has been the best job that I've had so far. The team here is great, and obviously just working on such a variety of different projects, leading on the Club World Cup stuff earlier this year, and, you know, just working on matchday pieces, reactives, just working matchday shifts. It's been amazing, but it's a very fast-paced company. There's a lot of work that we do that you might not necessarily see on social media. Obviously, I do post about the work that I create, but it's mainly more of the social media designs that you create, the reactives, obviously the matchday graphics, etc. But there's a lot of stuff that we do internally, you know, YouTube thumbnails as well, internal email campaigns, digital campaigns, kind of just one-off requests for like pop-up banners and things like that. There's a lot of stuff that we handle. So again, it's great to have that vast amount of experience covering different formats, different media that you're working on, and yeah, it's just been really fun. And obviously just working in football is amazing. I've really enjoyed it here. You know, the design team that we've got here is amazing. We've got a lot of really talented motion designers that are part of the team as well, which is just great. And just being in that environment, you know, we are based at the Etihad campus, just at the Joy Stadium, the women's ground. And yeah, just being in and around football is great. You know, I'm really lucky to have been able to get here, but I feel like it has taken me a while to get here. Obviously, from graduating from 2018 to 2024 to being in a job, obviously, in, you know, nearly 7 years since graduating. It took a while, but we did get here. There's a lot of hard work that I put in after COVID just to kind of grow my own freelance and my social media on the side, which I think really helped me to get I wouldn't say the skill sets, but like the level of skill needed to be in a position like this. It took me a while to refine that, but, you know, the graft was worth it in the end. And, you know, now I can say that I've worked for 2 Premier League clubs, and I freelance for the likes of the French national team, creating pieces for them, and for some smaller clubs across the UK. So yeah, you know, it's definitely been a journey. There's been some ups and downs, like I've mentioned, overall, but I've just tried to enjoy every part of it, make the most out of every opportunity that you get, and yeah, just keep experimenting, keep watching things. Like, I'm constantly watching tutorials on YouTube or TikToks or Instagram Reels, just to kind of keep on top of the trends, keep learning, keep finding ways how to improve your designs. You know, never rest on your laurels. You have to keep improving and catching up with the industry, as some of the designers nowadays are insane. Like, I look back at where I was when I was like 16, 17, and 17, 18-year-old designers now creating some absolutely crazy stuff. So it's you do get a bit of an imposter syndrome sometime, especially when you're amongst such a talented team at City. But, you know, you just have to keep grafting, and it does pay off, you know. I must be doing something right to have ended up at City. But yeah, you do have to just keep grafting. And yeah, you know, this is where I am now. We're in 2025 now, coming into, like I've mentioned, my second season in a way at the club. And yeah, you know, it's been great. Hopefully this is kind of helps you to understand the process that sometimes, you know, I think a lot of people expect to have very quick results. And, you know, sometimes it takes years to kind of get into a position that you really enjoy. It doesn't necessarily kind of just get handed to you out of nowhere, which I think quite a lot of people do think nowadays, unfortunately. But, you know, you just have to keep persevering and just being consistent. Like, after COVID, when I just really locked in that year, I was posting like multiple times a week, interacting with people in a similar position to me, which was great. And that helped me to kind of develop, as I was just looking at other designers, what they were doing, and really trying to up my game every single post. And that's kind of the year or two from COVID onwards that I really kind of grew my social media and helped me to get some freelance clients that I didn't have before, and just to make connections in the industry. So, you know, it does pay off. It might not necessarily pay off like the year after, but going into the future, all these experiences and things that you work on, projects or people that you interact with, you make friends, eventually it does all just, you know, click into place, and everything does happen for a reason, like I keep saying. So yeah, you just need to keep going on, keep cracking on, don't give up, you know, just keep really working on improving your own designs. And yeah, you know, if there's anything that you guys want to ask about, drop me a comment down below. DM me on Instagram or Twitter, whatever you guys want. I do try and get back to everyone. I don't get back to spam messages, so just putting it out there, but I do try and get back to all the kind of the genuine questions that people ask. And yeah, you know, hopefully the rambling on for the past 25 minutes or so has been useful to you in a way. It's quite crazy looking back at what my design journey is like in a way. I've never really done this before, and I thought that creating this kind of mood board path journey was quite a good way of presenting it and just showing off a few pieces of work that I created at every step of my career in a way. But yeah, you know, if you enjoyed the video, obviously a like and a comment is greatly appreciated. It shows that I'm doing something right and you guys find my content engaging. We are going to be getting back on track with creating videos, and I'm going to be putting out a few tutorials next after this video goes live, so just keep an eye out for that. And yeah, like I said, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you all guys in the next video.